I thought it was the end for me. I lived on the street. My parents had said, "Go out, the street is your place." All of this was because I wanted to become a basketball player. When I was 12 years old, I had already fallen in love with basketball. I watched games on the small TV in our living room and dribbled an old ball outside our apartment until my hands hurt. I wanted to be a professional basketball player. By the time I was 14, I had already decided that after finishing 9th grade one would apply to a sports program to study and train as a basketball player. But when I told my mother, she shouted, "Where do you think you're going? A basketball player? You'll never make it." Her words cut into me like knives. I went to my room, locked the door, and cried all night. Years later, when I was 19, the dream was still burning inside me, but my parents had no peace left. They said I was wasting my time and not bringing money to the house. One cold evening, they told me to pack my things and leave. They said, "The street is where you belong." So there I was, standing outside with only one suitcase of clothes, $23 in my pocket, and my basketball. That ball was the only thing that felt like home. I was crushed. I felt beaten down, worthless, abandoned. I thought I might not survive. For the first few nights, I slept near a bench in the city park. The sound of cars and the cold wind kept me awake. Hunger twisted my stomach, but I held my basketball close to my chest as if it were my only family left. I thought about giving up many times, but something inside whispered, "Keep going." During the day, I started spending time at a local basketball court. It was an old public playground, with faded lines on the asphalt and rusty rims. I dribbled, shot, and practiced my moves for hours. Sometimes kids laughed at me, calling me homeless, but I ignored them. My dream was the only thing keeping me alive. One afternoon, while I was practicing free throws, I noticed two men standing at the edge of the court. They were watching me closely. At first, I thought they might tell me to leave, but then one of them smiled. "You've got talent," he said. "Why aren't you on a team?" His voice carried authority, like he had seen hundreds of players before me. My chest tightened. I didn't know what to say. I don't have money. I live on the street, I admitted. My parents kicked me out. I wanted to be a basketball player since I was 12, but I have nothing now. Just this ball. They looked at each other, then back at me. The second man nodded. "You shouldn't waste that. There's a training session this weekend. It's for new players. No cost. Come, and show them what you've got." My heart pounded. Was this real? Could this be the chance I had prayed for? I asked where it was, and they gave me the address. "Don't miss it," the first man said firmly. That night, I could hardly sleep. I sat near the river, my suitcase by my side, thinking about everything. My shoes were old, my clothes worn out, and I had only $23. How could I walk into a serious basketball session like this? But then I remembered every moment I had cried after my mother shouted at me, every time my father looked at me with disappointment, every freezing night on the street. I wasn't going to let that pain be for nothing. The next morning, I set out on foot. The training session was in a sports hall on the other side of town. It took me nearly 2 hours to walk there. The sun burned my back, and I was sweating, but I didn't stop. With each step, I dribbled the ball slowly on the sidewalk, as if reminding myself why I was doing this. When I arrived, I saw a large building with wide doors and posters of professional players. My legs trembled. I was nervous, but I pushed the doors open and stepped inside. The sound of bouncing balls and sneakers squeaking on the polished wooden floor filled my ears. The two men from the park were already there. They waved me over and introduced me to the coach. The coach, a tall man with a whistle around his neck, looked me up and down. "Shoes are old, clothes are simple," he said. "But let's see if you can play." That was my moment. I stepped onto the court. I dribbled with focus, sprinted, and shot with everything I had. My heart was racing, sweat dripping down my forehead, but I felt alive. The ball went through the hoop again and again. I could feel the eyes of the players and the coach on me. After an hour of drills, the coach called me over. "Kid, you've got something special," he said. You're in. We'll train you. Money or no money, talent deserves a chance. Tears burned my eyes. I wanted to fall to my knees in gratitude. For the first time in years, I felt like I had a future. I wasn't just a homeless boy anymore. I was a basketball player in training. Days turned into weeks. I trained harder than anyone else. I arrived early, stayed late, and listened to every word the coach said. My body ached, but I didn't care. I finally had a purpose. The other players respected me because they saw my hunger, my fire. Soon, local tournaments came. I played with passion, diving for balls, blocking shots, and scoring points. People began to notice me. My name spread among the small basketball community. "That's Eli," they whispered. "The kid who came from nothing." With each game, my confidence grew. I still slept in shelters sometimes, still ate simple food, but I wasn't the same broken boy anymore. I was building myself through every shot and every rebound. Months later, something unexpected happened. My parents came to see me. They had heard that I was playing basketball now and doing well. They knocked on the locker room door after a game. I froze when I saw them. My father's eyes were full of something I hadn't seen before, regret. My mother looked nervous, almost ashamed. "Eli," she said softly. "We're proud of you. We didn't know you'd come this far. We need help. Can you give us some money? Things are hard at home." For a moment, my heart ached. A part of me wanted to forgive, to rush into their arms. But then I remembered the cold nights on the street, the empty stomach, the way they had shouted, "Go live outside." I took a deep breath. "No," I said firmly. "You told me I belonged on the street. Now I belong on the court. You left me with nothing, and I built this life myself. I won't give you money. Not now." They looked shocked. My father lowered his head, and my mother's eyes filled with tears. I walked past them, holding my basketball. My teammates were waiting for me, clapping my back, telling me, "Good game." At that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. My dream was alive, and I had survived the darkest nights. From the street to the court, I had become my own man. And nothing, no parent, no past, no pain, could take that away.